How are you? Merry Christmas. My name's Drew Dougherty, and that is Deepi Sidhu. How you doing, Deepi? Did you like that Christmas music that our producer Tyler Marcotte added in?
It was like a hip hop version of Joy to the World that I wasn't expecting, but now it's going to be stuck
I
in my
liked it.
head.
I
Yeah,
thought it was
I like it.
thought it was nice, and he's a wizard. He's
Festive.
going to add actually for Texans extra points this week. Visually, he's going to add garland and holly with some silver bells around the edge of the screen. So I can't wait to see that and the other little tricks that are up his sleeve. Listen, DP, there's a lot of news that just broke with the Texans over the last 15 minutes, even shorter than that. The team has added to its COVID-19 list. Big hit coming because you got your best offensive player, probably your best player overall in Brandon Cooks, the wide receiver, heads to the COVID-19 list. And as well, you got kicker Kaimi Fairbairn, who's really come on the last. I mean, he's having a great second half of the season. He's had a solid season overall, but especially effective the last few weeks. Pretty big hits. They also put Jeff Driscoll onto the injured reserve with his collarbone injury, and then Eric Wilson, a linebacker, goes to the COVID list as well. But Deepi, pretty big body blows for a team that was already aching going into last Sunday, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you were hoping to build on some of that momentum in that win against Jacksonville. And Cooks and Kaimi, they scored 24 of your 30 points last week. You had Cooks scoring 2 touchdowns, and Kaimi had 12 points with his field goals and the extra point attempt. So it is a big blow as the Texans they look to face the Chargers. Chargers are going to be without a few players of their own, namely Joey Bosa. But this is what it is in the league right now, Drew. I mean, it's all these players, and the Texans seem to have a growing list of players on that COVID list. They've got, or they had before today's transactions, already over a dozen players, had 13 on the active roster and 2 practice squad players that were on that reserve list. And now they add 3 more active roster players to that list. You hope that you can get some of the players that missed last week's game at Jacksonville back through some testing. Maybe they'll get some negatives. You get a few players back, which should offer a boost to your defense, which was so depleted last week, but they got the job done. But only time will tell. David Culley was asked about it this morning, and he sort of alluded to it. He said, we're going to see more names go on it. Nobody's ready to come off it yet today. And Drew, you and I were at practice inside the bowl, and I did not see number 13 on the field. And I just had a sinking feeling. But yeah, that just confirmed our worst fear with him and Kaimi both going on the reserve COVID list today.
Yeah, and let's pull back the curtain a little bit, because when we go to practice, Deepi is like the attendance taker. She's like marking people off. I'm just like out there watching. Yeah, all right, Deepi, just chill, okay? But you did, to your credit, you called it this afternoon.
Yes. I do it mentally now because we're not really out there that long, and I don't want to spend my entire time like checking off players. But you look for the big names, and it seemed like there were certain position groups that were pretty depleted. We knew the defensive lineman group was going to be pretty depleted, but it seemed like there were some notable names missing in that wide receiver group. So I don't know if they were going through their testing at that moment or what, but Brandon Cooks was definitely not in that mix. We saw some of the other receivers out there. They're working on special teams and whatnot.
Yeah, so big blow. Speedy recovery to them. Hope they get back as quickly as possible, as well as the guys who were out last week. Think about it. We talked many, many times in many, many different ways about how the Texans went into that game without their best corner, their best safety, their 2 best linebackers, their best pass rusher, their 2 starting offensive guards, and they were still able to pull out a win. Now it's against the Jaguars, and that's a special type of struggle that's going on now in Jacksonville. But nonetheless, it was a win, and you were able to get that W and get in the win column. And naturally, these questions that we're answering, the first couple have to do with Brady Cooks and how you replace him. Billy wants to know, how do you replace that Cooks production? Jose is asking, with Cooks out, how does Nico Collins' role expand on Sunday? Great questions, both. As far as Collins, he's probably going to get some more targets. I think Chris Conley, you'll probably see get some more targets. An interesting name that we saw last week for the very first time this season, after only seeing him in the preseason and then on the practice squad throughout, Jordan Veazey. Now, he didn't catch a pass. He didn't catch a pass Sunday, but he was in for 15 snaps on offense. I thought he was purely going to be a special teams guy because he was excellent there in August, but you might see Jordan Veazey perhaps catch his first pass this Sunday. But yeah, Nico Collins, he probably gets more targets for sure. And I'm guessing that Tim Kelly kind of jiggles some things and put some stuff in place that puts him and Chris Conley in more advantageous spots.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can replace a guy like Brandon Cooks, like what he brings to the locker room, what he brings on the field. I mean, what you can do is maybe have a couple of different players sort of step up in his place. I think the beauty of what Cooks does so well is that, Davis Mills just had that trust and that connection with him. He could just throw the ball up, and he said it. He was always in the right place at the right time. You always knew where to find him. He was a great security blanket for a rookie quarterback. And I think that's the worst part of all of it, is that he's coming off this big win, and you want to see what the two of them can really develop. And it helps a lot to have number 13 out there on the field. But to your point, Drew, I do think we're going to see more. We may see some more Chris Moore. We didn't really see him in the receiving game too much last week.
Yeah.
He was on special teams. So, maybe you put him back in the mix. You've got Conley, you've got Collins, who, those two rookies actually had a great connection in camp, Davis Mills and Collins, because they worked a lot together. So Davis Mills has worked with all these receivers. He's building a connection and a chemistry with all of them on the field, but you just have to jiggle around some things in the game plan and spread the ball around a little bit more. I mean, it's going to look a little different than it's looked in the weeks past because there's no Brandon Cooks for defenders to block, but maybe you get the job done. You were able to do it last week without some of your key players on defense, and this week you're going to have to do it without a key player on offense.
Yeah, and that's a good point you bring about Chris Moore, because he's caught a touchdown. He's produced this season, so maybe he gets out there and gets some more snaps like you're talking about, and perhaps you see a little bit of Tremont Smith maybe at wide receiver. He's done it before. He's played offense in his high school days, and the Chiefs tinkered with him at running back when he was with Kansas City. So maybe he goes out there and does some things offensively because of what we saw from him explosiveness wise on Sunday on special teams. You cool with that, Deepi? You want to do that? You want to see that?
Why not? I love a good defensive player getting to play offense or special teams. Is Justin Reed going to kick field goals for us? Are we just going to go for two on every single play? I mean, I'm curious to see how things shake out. But Tremont Smith is super fast, and he said he loved having the ball in his hands. He's played a little bit of quarterback too, so he could be a weapon on offense.
I could just be screwing around here, so don't take that to the bank, okay? It's not like I'm calling my shots or anything. I'm just having a little fun. It's Christmas, right?
I like Frank it. I like where you're going with that.
You like it? Bethany wants to know, what's the biggest key in containing Justin Herbert and the Chargers offense? Well, man, Texans are going to get tested. And it doesn't matter if you're the Texans of this year, if you're the Texans of 2011, that defense, or the 2016 defense. No matter the defense you play against, this team, this Chargers offense, man, they're really impressive, Deepi. That quarterback, Justin Herbert, can zip the ball in some weird windows, and he's very, very judicious with how he does it. He's already got 32 touchdowns, and he still has, 3 games to play. I've been very impressed with what he can do. And how do you slow him down? You keep it in front of you. That's what David Culley was saying earlier this week. He said, you keep that stuff in front of you. You make sure you don't give up the big explosive play. That's a lot to ask, though, because they get those big explosive plays on a regular basis, Deepi.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Desmond King, he's played with Justin Herbert. He was with the Chargers last year, early in the season before he got traded to the Titans. So he may have a thing or two that he can offer as far as advice on covering Justin Herbert. But yeah, he's been phenomenal. I think he's the only player in NFL history to have over 30 plus passing touchdowns in his first 2 seasons. So I think, Drew, you totally took my answer. I was going to say, don't give up the deep play. And that was something that the Texans were really good at last week against Trevor Lawrence. And so if they get some of those members of their secondary back and keep the ball in front of them, like you're saying, and don't give up the deep ball and sort of force Justin Herbert to, keep the ball in front of him and bring pressure. Maybe you get some of your other D linemen back that weren't able to play last week and get some pressure up front. That should do it. But you know what? The best thing to do is just to keep them off the field. It'd be just to keep them off the field altogether. Have long sustained drives by your offense.
No doubt. Yeah, no doubt. German Texan, thank you for watching. And thank you also for the very kind words. German Texan says, I wish you and your families a very happy holidays. Thank you. Same to you, man.
Oh, thank you.
Stay safe. Stay safe to you. We appreciate that. And we got one from Jonathan. With Austin Eckler potentially out, how do the Texans handle Joshua Kelly and Justin Jackson? Well, hold on there, Jonathan. That Eckler report about him going to the COVID-19 list for about a day or two ago, that was not accurate. He's not officially been placed on it unless something changed in the last 5 minutes or so. So you're still going to have to contend with him. And it's kind of along the same lines of what we just said about handling explosive plays and keeping that from happening, because Justin Herbert is able to do those things, kind of loosens things up for those guys to run the ball. But Jose is asking about the 2022 draft prospects. Listen, Texans are obviously going to be picking very, very high, right, Deepi? I just want them to take the very best player available, a guy that's going to come in and immediately make a difference and make an even bigger difference down the line and be a game changer, whether that's on offense, whether that's on defense. Just get that BPA, the best player available.
BPA.
That's where I am with that. They're slated to pick in the third spot if the season ended today, but season's not over, so we'll see where they eventually wind up.
I think second, right? Second. Are they second or are they third?
I think it's third right now.
Well, because the Lions have 3 wins.
Anyways, it's a high pick.
They have the tie. Anyway,
we're third.
We're third. You're right. So I agree with you. Best player available, and that's what we always say every single year in the draft. Take the best player available. But this is one of those years that you really do need positions. Every single position of need is a position of every single position is a position of need. So I'm with you, Drew. I'm actually really excited about the 2022 draft because I think Nick Casario's first draft as Texans general manager has gone really well. I mean, you look at all 5 draft picks and they've all been contributors. They've all been starters. You've Roy Lopez, Davis Mills, Nico Collins, Brevin Jordan, and then Garrett Wallow, who took a little bit longer to get some snaps on defense. And then last week when he did, really showed out, got his first sack. So I think if your draft class goes this well next year, you're going to have a lot to look forward to in 2022.
Yeah, for sure. And me on this Water Break Wednesday, I'm the king of jinxes because last week at this time, German Texan asked, "Oh, what's going on with COVID?" I was like, "Everybody's fine. Nothing's
totally
happening."
Fine.
And then bam, 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 all those guys get taken out. Well, I just answered that question about Eckler, and I pulled up Twitter, and Austin Eckler did not practice today. So we'll see.
Oh, wow.
No word yet, but that is something to monitor. He might not be going. Okay, we talk about the future, and we're going to end things with this. Michael has what I think is the question of the day. What are you finding hope for the Texans in, or where are you finding hope with the Texans? I'll tell you, you got a great pass rusher in Jonathan Grenard, and I think you're going to add to that in the draft this year. I'm really excited about what I've seen from him. And then on the offensive side of the ball, as well as Roy Lopez, I thought he came in and contributed as a rookie almost right off the bat. Started, I think, week 2 and has started every game since. Plus, Garrett Wallow last weekend, Deepi. Golly, he gets pressed into action, leads the team in tackles, or ties for the team lead with Tavier Thomas, who had a good game. He got a sack. He's one of those guys who's contributed all year long on special teams. And I'll let you take the offensive reasons for hope, but those are some guys that I have and have inspired hope for me with this Texans bunch.
Yeah, I mean, I think I touched on a little bit earlier. I'm really excited about this 2021 draft class and seeing how they make that jump from year 1 to year 2. We've seen what Jonathan Grenard has done from year 1 to year 2, and I don't even think his rookie season was as productive as the rookies that we've seen this year. And Grenard has been off to a hot start this year. So if these rookies from this year can build on this and make that jump from year 1 to year 2, I mean, you do have a lot of reasons to be optimistic. And then you add in some more rookies next year that are going to be high-profile picks because you're going to be picking so high in the draft, and hopefully they can start contributing early. I mean, it's a lot to look forward to next year.
Sure is. All right, Deepi, it's always fun to do this with you. We appreciate you and everything you do. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you, all of you watching today. Hope it's a good one. And Tyler Marcotte and Amanda Caffey for doing all the behind-the-scenes heavy lifting. Thanks so much to them. Until next time, we'll see you. Go Texans.